up with the brand Hydra, and what is Hydra?
So we've been running Fight Supplies for a few years, and we kind of had this idea floating around that it'd be great to start our own brand for a few reasons. First of all, we have control over the designs and we can go as crazy as we want with that. We will also have control over the stock, because when we're relying on our suppliers, quite often we find that they don't have the stock that they can't meet the demand within the UK. So we knew if we began manufacturing our own equipment, we have a lot more control. There obviously is a better profit margin when you're cutting out the middleman. In regards to the name and the brand Hydra, so once we kind of decided, we should start our own brand, let's come up with a name. I mean, that probably lasted for a few weeks, and we tried coming up with something Thai. We tried coming up with something to do with the number 8. We just couldn't really decide on anything. I think we just thrown a few words around, and we gave a few a go. I think we come up with maybe just a couple of names, and we, repeat them to ourselves a few times throughout the day. And we're like, no, I can't see that. We also wanted something that was kind of memorable, or something that was easy to say or spell, because there's other brands that people just have a hard time pronouncing and therefore remembering or searching on Google. And then Hydra come up, and it clicked.
Yeah.
It's just a name that we thought was aggressive but cool. It was short, it was memorable, and when we started playing around with putting the name Hydra on gloves and equipment, we could see it working, so we stuck with it, and no regrets.
Yeah, I mean, it makes, just from a real sort of common sense standpoint, it makes sense to do that, because it's what you already know, and it's what you already have a background in and data in to go with it. So like from Fight Supplies, we knew what style of cut of shorts sell well. We knew that people order. We know
what
sizing, which sizes are more popular than others. How to then size the shorts and things like that when they go to manufacturing, and taking customer feedback as well, and feedback from fighters and gyms and stuff along the way, through the sort of relationships that we've built through Fight Supplies, and being able to kind of transfer that across the Hydra and go, well, actually, twins shin guards are incredibly popular, and the reason they're popular is because they're slightly lighter in weight than the Fairtex ones, and they have a slightly different cut, and just trying to sort of take all these things from the products that we already were stocking and selling as Fight Supplies, and kind of, and obviously the things we like as well, is the other thing, and try and sort of amalgamate them together. So it does make sense from a business perspective to go, rather than trying to start in a whole new industry completely fresh, it makes sense to branch out, because there is loads of different lanes you can go down. And like you said, even for fighters, with PTs, coaching, seminars, branding, all that sort of stuff. There's loads of different avenues that you can go down, all within Muay Thai. You don't have to branch out into something entirely different. Yeah. I don't feel.
No, I think it definitely made sense for us, because it was quite an easy step to grow our business. But I think for anyone that's self-employed or anyone with a business, it makes sense to diversify your revenue streams, just to ensure that your eggs aren't all in one basket. And for us it made sense, and I don't believe there's like a conflict of interest. We'll happily still sell and promote Fairtex Twins, Sandy, other brands, whilst pushing Hydra, because for us really Hydra isn't a competitor to those big brands. I mean, perhaps maybe one day it could be, but in the short term, in the next sort of 5-10 years, we're not looking to try and go up against these big established Thai brands that have been around for decades. It's not viable. So there's no conflict of interest for us in starting our own brand. It's just something that we can push on the side as well. Like I said, have more control over stock, have more control over designs, and use the data that we've got from Fight Supplies to make those decisions on exactly what stock to purchase.
Yeah, and the other thing these days as well is the sports growing exponentially. Like over the last 5 years, the growth, thanks to like One and things like that, there's much more visibility. Who knows where we'll be in, One's on Sky Sports now. There's no reason why we can't start seeing some of the big UK shows being televised as well in the near future, I don't think. And as the sport gets bigger and gets more recognition, there's going to be room for more brands. Like Hydra isn't the only sort of newish brand to hit the block. There'll be several others as well. But like Luke says, it's not necessarily about just trying to take over. The market really is big enough for everybody. Like Luke said, we still want to be able to promote other brands as well through Fight Supplies as well as Hydra.
In terms of sponsoring a show, what actually does that entail?
As Hydra, we sponsor Hitman Fight League and Diamond Fight as well. But again, when you're sponsoring a show, it's a two-way street, because obviously we're expecting the promotion to push our brand, but we have to offer that promotion something as well. So with both of those shows, we do like custom shorts, custom gloves, that sort of stuff that then sort of raises the level of the branding on their events, which makes them look more professional, and in turn hopefully help to grow their promotions as well alongside ours. I think that's really the key, is that it's a 50-50 relationship, and we're very fortunate that we've sort of built very good relationships with a lot of promotions and fighters and stuff within the sport, and that's kind of how we sort of ended up sponsoring like Hitman and Diamond Fight really. But yeah, for Hitman, like I say, we do custom shorts. Same for Diamond Fight. We've actually got new custom gloves coming for the next Hitman show as well. So yeah, it's about growing together rather than just sort of one side using another for individual benefit. And those guys are very much of the same mindset as us. We're all trying to sort of grow together rather than just kind of it being like a one-sided relationship.
I think also providing the equipment for the shows is beneficial for Hydra as opposed to Fight Supplies, in that even before we were offering the custom equipment for Hitman Fight League and Diamond Fight, having the fighters wear Hydra lace-up gloves, Hydra cotton shins and Hydra shorts for the shows, as opposed to if we were going to sponsor the shows as Fight Supplies and provide them with Twins or Fairtex equipment, it doesn't do us any favours in growing our brand, because people can buy it. People are already familiar with those brands; they're already established, and they can then buy them from anywhere. Whereas Hydra, I think, when people are seeing these top level fighters wearing Hydra equipment while competing in A class at that level, it helps Hydra establish itself as a brand that's good enough for these top fighters. So it's good enough for anyone. I think the first one is kind of generic and probably should be common sense, which is just check for trademarks, check for any conflicts, check Companies House, make sure that no one is already using that brand. And also just checking things like social media handles, or if you ever plan to move on to YouTube, checking YouTube channel names availability. I mean, you can be creative with names, but I don't think I would have been happy if our Instagram handle was Hydra Fight Gear _101. Like if you're building a brand and you want your identity to be a strong, you want to establish a strong brand identity, like those sort of things, you need to check up on. But yeah, especially copyright and trademarks, and making sure that no one else is using that name, especially within the niche or industry.
Just to sort of add on to that as well, like you were saying about the handles, obviously web domain's going to be very important as well, making sure that that's available for whatever name you choose. I'd say as well, most businesses now are quite clean and simple with the branding side of it, in terms of your logo and that sort of stuff. Try not to make it too complicated, make it legible so people can read it and know what it is. It always helps if within the name people actually know what it is you're selling as well. So we list as Hydra Fight Gear so people understand exactly what it is. But yeah, more from a sort of design aspect and things like that, I'd say just don't be afraid to try things. There's going to be things that are going to go wrong along the way and things that are going to fail. But if you don't try, you don't know. And it's just about it's the same as doing Muay Thai or any martial art. You try until you find what works for you and what fits well, and you kind of push on with that from there, I'd say. Probably the main things.
Yeah.
And then obviously the cliches: hard work, time, dedication, discipline, focus, that sort of stuff.
I think if you can leverage some relationships as well with established, reputable people within your industry. So we were, like I said, we were fortunate enough to already have some of these relationships as fight suppliers. We've reached out to a couple of them, such as Amber Kitchen, asked if she'd be happy to try out some of our equipment. The same with Your Lectures Digital, asked if he'd be happy to try some of our equipment. We arranged a photo shoot with both of them, and they're still wearing it to this day. So that's, for them, that was kind of battle testing our equipment.
And at the same time, you be prepared to take criticism of it as well.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because if you're kind of selecting the right people to test things and things like that, you can't expect everything to come back with 100% positive feedback. You've got to be a little thick-skinned with it, and take that criticism on board and look to implement that as well. Really sort of use it in a constructive sense.
Yeah, we told these guys outright, like, please be as brutally honest as possible. Like, if you think the stuff is rubbish, we need to know. Like, please don't just tell us it was good, because we'll never know. If you think it's rubbish, tell us it's rubbish so that we can fix it. But fortunately, we never ever heard that. So
no.
With Hydra, we did everything right. But I think establishing any brand, check that you've check trademarks, check your domain names, make sure that it's a brand name that's memorable, that it's legible. Leverage any relationships you've got with people, and if you haven't got any relationship, build those relationships first, because otherwise you're going out there by yourself. And this isn't just about a Muay Thai brand. I mean, I think this is any brand. Like, if you're taking a shot in the dark with no one by your side, when these problems arise, like, you're going to be clueless and you're going to be by yourself. I think if you can reach out to anyone that's established, any person that's got a following behind them, someone that's trusted, and build a relationship with them, then you can leverage that relationship in a way that's mutually beneficial and help your brand to grow and succeed.